Moses died atop a mountain overlooking the Promised Land. He was 120 years old, and the Bible says his eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone. It seems that Moses was still strong and healthy, but yet death came for him. Moses died younger than his ancestors. Adam and Noah had surpassed their 900th birthday before dying. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had lived to be 175, 180, and 147 respectively. But Moses died at 120. Then the situation grows even bleaker with Joshua, his successor, who dies at 110. Joshua, as we will be discussing soon, led Israel in conquering the Promised Land. And so for a moment, I think it was worth wondering if death would begin to work backwards. I mean, wasn't the Promised Land the finish line? God had finally led his people to cross it. And so I'm wondering, is there going to be a tree of life there, like there was in Eden? Is there going to be some sort of fountain of youth from which the Israelites can drink? Because if this is home, shouldn't life be long? Even if the Israelites don't live forever because of the curse of sin, might they not at least live as long as their ancient ancestors, Adam and Noah, did? And yet Joshua, a righteous man living in the Promised Land, dies younger than his predecessors. Something seems wrong here. That's because something is wrong. Horribly wrong. Whether inside or outside the Promised Land, death still reigned. The Promised Land was indeed a special place selected by God for his people to live in. It was indeed a land blessed by God and flowing with milk and honey. But it was not meant to be an eternal home for God's people. The Promised Land was still on earth, and on earth, in its fallen state, there is death. Death was not part of God's good and perfect design for creation, but rather an unwelcome intruder. Death is the most horrifically unnatural human experience, and if I am honest, in many ways it terrifies me. Now yes, I believe that my citizenship is in heaven. Yes, my soul longs for the eternal home waiting for me on the other side. And yes, I know I can completely trust in God's promises. But death is still the horrible curse brought into existence because of our sin. And I don't think anything can make it a pleasant journey. Death is unlike anything else in the human experience. It is a solo journey into the unknown. Unlike journeys on this earth, which we can share with family and friends, we can't do that with death. It is a journey we must take completely alone. Sometimes I feel that if my wife and I were holding hands at the moment of death and could just make the trek into eternity together, then I could do it, and I wouldn't be afraid. But that is not to be. Death is the loneliest of all journeys. Not only can we not have a traveling partner for the journey through death, but we also cannot prepare for the journey through research, by scrolling down the pages of the internet, browsing through pictures and videos of the experiences of others. Death is something that nobody can ever communicate with us about, or share with us their experience of. It is a journey shrouded in blackest darkness. And possibly most frightening of all, death is a journey from which we will never return. Unlike an earthly trip where we can turn back if we realize we forgot something, or where we can adjust our sails and change our course if the journey becomes unpleasant, death leads to an eternal destination, to a place from which there is no return. Death is an unnatural, undesired journey, but one which humanity is forced to take. And as we see with Moses at the age of 120, with Joshua at the age of 110, and with the average person today at the age of 77, the journey is being taken sooner rather than later. Decreasing lifespans, Moses dying when his body was still strong and healthy, and Joshua dying though he entered the Promised Land. All of these facts point to the grim reality that humanity has fallen dreadfully far away from paradise, from Eden, from that garden in the east, from the tree of life, from home.